Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Relatable. I am your host, Stephanie Michele. I'm trying something a little bit different today. Usually I prepare what I'm going to say in this opening monologue in the morning while I'm lying in bed. I'm like, what's there? What's coming up? What did I get exposed to last night in the news or the media that I want to talk about? Or do I want to share something that happened over the weekend? And let me tell you, this was kind of a crazy weekend. But I didn't prepare anything. Because it actually ties into what we're going to talk about today. And I just wanted to sit for a second and just sit in the space and just feel what's coming up for me. So this is live. This is me just going to riff what I'm experiencing right now in this space. And what I'm most present to, I think, is, well, a couple things actually just came up. One is, I haven't talked about how special this space is to me and what went into creating it. And just, I'm grateful for that. It came through, the way that I wanted it to come through. And when people sit in the space, they talk about, it feels good in here. And I don't often stop to let myself enjoy how that feels, and I'm feeling it right now. And I heard something while I was saying that. I heard a noise in the hallway, and I'm also really reminded right now of how our neighbors in this building are really working with us to work on the noise or just, be supportive about what we're doing. And I'm really grateful for the interdependence that's happening. I'm living in it. I'm experiencing different momentum of different relationships that are happening here. What else am I? And it's nice, actually, I don't know how this looks. Does she even know what she's going to be talking about next? But it's actually nice just to sit here and go, yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to be present in this space. What else is coming up? And one more thing, I think you're going to meet my guest in a second here. I'm really grateful that she started really experiencing the space and just kind of checking in with me and asking questions to be clear about what might be available to us or who we might be talking today or how this conversation is going to evolve. So she took a little time to connect with me on that, and I really appreciate that too. So with that being said, if you haven't figured it out yet, what we're going to be talking about today is just energy and spiritual energy, and really just this concept of it being available at all times. And maybe sometimes you have to tune out to tune in to see what's there. That's what we're going to be talking about. I happen to believe that it's available to us at all times, and I think a lot of things get in the way of experiencing it, and it's actually what you need to hear always. It should be the loudest voice, not anything else, not the media, not the endless emails that are in your box, but this voice that's saying, be here now, be present, do your thing, and do it well, and be happy, and be joyful, and lean into love, and all those great things. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. That was my soft rant. So my guest today, let's meet her. I'm so excited about this. This is Amma Nkwa. Right? Did I do it right?
Right.
Yeah.
You did it right.
I kind of wanted to do it like this. She is a medium clairvoyant. We're going to learn about what that is if you don't know what it is. And she's a spiritual soul coach who helps artists, healers, and entrepreneurs step into their mission. Amma went through a profound transformation process through 4 years of training with shamans here in the States and in South America. During those 4 years, she shaved her head, she was celibate, and studied with the indigenous healing ways and went through profound healing herself. She realized through this time that her mission was to use her gifts to help other healers and artists free themselves. I like it.
You like that?
I do. I do. It feels, I often say I wish people could feel how it feels in here. It feels different with you. And it's a good different. And I'm excited about it. So welcome.
Thank you.
One of the first things I always ask somebody that sits in the chair is just what's coming up for you? Before we get into our topic, and you know some of the questions I might ask you, but is there anything that you just want to put out there to just clear it? And
I do. I feel like in order to be present, I want to just let me feel into that for a second. Yeah, I think what's most present. I was thinking about Kyle, your the guest that you had, your trans guest that you had on, and I was really impacted by them in a good way. And I have to say that, well, it's about Kyle, but it's about all these other, you know, these things in this way that people need to be able to be who they are. Oh, Stephanie, to be who they are.
Yeah.
And people need to have permission to be who they are.
Yeah.
Just who they are, and that is right and okay, and that there need be some love in that regard. To allow people to say that again.
Who gives them the permission? Where do they need to get that permission from?
You know, as a society, it's our responsibility to offer that, even though they don't need it from us. They don't need our permission. But let's give it to them anyway.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're going to say, hey, I'm doing this thing.
Yeah.
I decide.
Yeah.
But as a society, we can say, okay, good.
Yeah.
Please do that.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
it's both and.
Yeah.
That feels what's real for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. No, I like it. I agree. I mean, I don't think anybody needs anybody's approval or permission to do something, but I do like that your statement, we should give it to them anyways, because I do believe that everybody's put on this earth to do something special. You know, it could be in their own little small group or in a big group. It doesn't matter. It's not about the size, but they only get to do that if they're authentic. And if they can't be themselves, like, that's a horrible way to live. Like, it's a really, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I cannot even imagine. So, yes. Yes.
And to be clear about permission, you know, I'm using it as kind of a metaphor. I don't literally mean they need our permission.
Yeah.
But it's our love. In support.
Yeah.
Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what was there.
So permission's kind of love.
Yeah. Like, yeah, please, you know, please be you.
Yeah.
I'm going to love that.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. We were talking off camera before we started, and I will always say, like, I can't give them space if their platform is hate. But I'll give anybody space if their platform is love, and I don't care what it is that they love, you know, as long as they're not hurting anybody, I'll give you space. You know, I might not agree with it, I might not understand it, but if you're coming from that space, we're good, you know? We're good.
What's better than love?
There is nothing better than love. There's nothing better.
Studies have shown it's a good thing.
Yeah. Makes you healthy, makes you happy. All right, we're off to a good start.
I love it.
All right, maybe we should start, let's clear this out, just the easy stuff, because we're going to go deep, I can already tell. We're going somewhere. What is a medium, and what's a clairvoyant? What are the two together? So let's put that out, so if people have never heard.
A medium is somebody who talks to dead people, passed on loved ones.
Yeah.
So that there's a way that you're here, right? I'm here, and we can talk to each other. And there's also a way that once people pass on, that communication is still available. Not just to me, but to all of us, should we choose to make that connection, which I think is an important point. It's not like I'm special or exotic. Not at all. This is all our birthright, should we choose to avail ourselves of that. So clairvoyant is one who sees clearly, to understand. So I can see into the current condition. I can see what's happened before, and I can see what perhaps may be coming up. And you know, it's not intrusive. I can't see everything.
Right.
I'm only given information, privy to information that's best for your soul's healing.
Got it.
That's it.
Got it. All right. She's like, I just want to play. Her whole language, her whole body, your whole face is like, we're going to play, right?
We have to play more, Stephanie.
Like,
Lord have mercy, we have to have more fun in our lives.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Ooh, don't get me, see, I'm about to preach. Go ahead. Ask me to think.
All right. Well, so So this is you. This is you now. You have these gifts. Like, what was you before that? Before you knew you could do these things, or maybe like share the first experience you had. You're like, ooh, I got some information that I can share with people. Like, what was that like?
I think it's an important question because healers often come out and they look shiny and they look glistening and you don't know where they came from. Understand? So what happened was I was an alcoholic and things were, you know, I'm not laughing because that's funny, but I'm laughing because it's so far from where I'm at now, which is a trip, that you can go from that to wanting even to make a difference. Do you know what I mean? That was a monkey on my back, Stephanie. Lord have mercy, I couldn't get it off. What happened was, you know, Creator decided that it was time for me to stop messing around. And I began to get curious. Is this it?
Yeah.
And so I started working with shamans and working with sacred medicines like ayahuasca. Do you understand? Y'all, come on, life is exciting now. Lord have mercy. You can go from one thing and go to another. Now that's real. The transformation happened for me, Stephanie, because we are evolving beings. And so Creator came to me like a voice and a vibration. It was real, like I could hear you talking to me. You just said, yeah, I could hear that. Yeah. I could hear Creator's voice like that there. And Creator is whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? But in this moment, Creator said to me, I'm here and I am real and I forgive you. And it was like when you hear your mother's voice and you know that's her. You know what I'm saying? Who is that? Yeah. And then it was time, obviously, to start to look at some of the pain in my life and start to change some things. And then all my psychic centers started to open at once. And then that began.
So this is what's coming up for me, and you're sharing all this. Like, do you believe? So maybe with the pain and you experiencing going through alcoholism, was it like an excuse to get to the real good stuff? Like, I mean, like, you know, I'm not saying, I don't think I'm saying this the right way. Like, it's like sometimes I think we fight the best part of us or what we're supposed to do. Like I call, you know what it is for me?
What's it?
My to-do list. It's like sometimes, I think a guest a couple weeks ago said, like, you know, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And immediately in my head, my to-do list popped in. I'm like, yeah, all that stuff that like just keeps you busy, but it's like, you're not getting to play and just be, you know? Yeah. Somehow I'm comparing my to-do list to your alcoholism, but
it's relevant. I totally understand where you're going with it. You know, for me, as an alcoholic, I became aware in retrospect that I was looking for a spiritual experience. That's what I was actually looking for. But it was a cheap way. It is the shadow version of the real transformation that I started to begin to get when I started to really look inside and look at who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing here on the planet.
That got real for me. The whole idea, the idea of wanting a spiritual experience, but only having religion as the way that it's going to happen, which, you know, I've now realized that's not the case. But I believe if I'm honest with myself, I think that I share some of that with you, that I've always wanted more of a spiritual experience and believe it's got to be better than this. It's got to be greater than this. Like, you know, some of the stuff you just pay attention to in the news and media, it's like, come on, people. Like, are really? Like, this is what we're going to pay attention to? Like, it's got to be greater than this.
It has to.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm forgetting my own questions. Okay, so first time that you really leaned into like your gifts. So like, do you remember like the first time you helped somebody else, or maybe it was just
here's what had happened, right? I was a hypnotherapist. Okay. Before it all started happening, right? Yeah. And I would be sitting with people, hypnotizing them to quit smoking or whatever the thing was. And then the passed on loved one would start talking to me. Lord have mercy. I was like, okay, but this you know, this feeling in my heart was share.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say, look, I don't know what this means to you, but your grandmother's talking to me. She like this, da 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 da. She's saying da 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 da. And then here they go, they be crying. Oh, yes, that's true. So I had the confirmation that something bizarre wasn't happening, but I was actually tapping into something very real. And I was tapping into that so that then people could receive healing in that reconnection.
I feel like you should be asking the questions. I feel like this is where this is going. It's like, chuck these questions. What do you want to ask? What's going on? Which we can do. We can switch, because I know you want to play, and I probably need to play, so we can go there.
Lord of mercy, you gotta have fun.
Right.
I want everybody to ask yourself, how much fun is you having right now? Are you having fun in your life? You know what I mean? Besides getting the bills paid and all this stuff that we gotta do and all the accomplishments, let's have fun.
Yeah.
We gonna do it?
We can do it.
Okay, let's do that.
Do it.
I'm already having fun, by the way.
I know, I could tell. I am too. It feels, like I said, every guest, I wish there's some way that I could communicate the feeling of being with somebody and how it's different from person to person. And it's all good, but it's just different. And when you allow yourself to be like, okay, I actually I feel this. Like, we obviously have had different life experiences. You can tell just by looking at us, right? But the idea that you and I can connect and feel something feels pretty good.
It's pretty natural.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it should be.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. All right. Well, tell me, so you so you got to play, like you come out of this some dark stuff in your own personal life, and you lean into doing healing work, and then it's like coming to you, like you're starting to get these messages. You're like, I didn't know that this was gonna be like the thing that I was gonna do. Was there a time where you're like, I don't know, do I keep this in, or do where was it clear that you had to really help people with it? Like, this was something that you were really going to use.
I did come out, and it was playful. It was also overwhelming because it happened quite suddenly. I also wasn't prepared emotionally. I was coming out of alcoholism, and immediately, all these gifts started. I wasn't mature.
You're told not to do relationships, right? When you come out of
well, I tend to not do what people tell me to do in general. So there's that.
I would never guess that.
So I don't know about that. But what happened was, I forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about?
And not do what people tell you to do. Were you when you were trying to figure out your gifts, like what you're going to do with them? Like, we're going to use them to heal.
Yeah. And what was the question you asked me?
I asked you, was there a moment where you're like, I got to keep this for myself, or like, I got to figure this out?
I know where I was going with it. Yeah. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You feel me? I wasn't, seemingly, but Creator was like, you're ready, right? You are ready. You're always ready, by the way. You just get ready. I mean, how long are you going to keep messing around? Life is, eventually you're going to die, so you should get ready.
Yeah.
I realized that it just made sense, Stephanie. It just made sense.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm right. The things I'm telling people are landing. They're saying yes. They're having an experience. I'm being healed by my experience with them. They're having a healing. We're mutually having this experience. Something needs to keep going here. And I just kept following the next thread. To see, at first I was like wobbly, like, is this, what am I doing? Who am I? What is this called?
Would you have moments where you're not in a session with somebody that came for a healing experience where you're picking up on other stuff?
Girl, all the time.
Okay.
I mean, at a party, it still happens, by the way.
Yeah.
Wherever I go. It's not just maddening with all this craziness happening. Da-da-da-da-da-da. People ask me all the time, is it always happening? Is there things happening? No. Sometimes I'm just having a tea, relaxing with my girlfriend. But sometimes I'm at a party and I'll zone and I'll see somebody and I'll go, and first of all, you ask permission.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I have something for you, some information. Is it okay to share that with you? Yes, no. People always say yes. I ain't had nobody say, but it's important. You don't just go telling people stuff they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And so then you tell them the thing, and it's delightful.
Yeah.
Oh my heavens! It's glorious to be able to connect real talk, real fast.
Yeah.
Instead of the bullshit that we normally talk about. Hi, where are you from? How are you? I don't care. No, I do care how you are, but the problem is that when I ask you how you are, you're going to say fine.
Yeah.
So I need to ask you something deeper to get to something deeper.
Yeah.
Girl, I went way off whatever the question was, but go ahead.
No, you're right on. You're right where we need to be. Totally there. So do you so you don't know when stuff's going to come through, really?
Well, I can tune into it, okay, for sure.
Okay.
If someone's sitting with me and I need to be with them, for sure, I do know. Okay. Because I go, hey, now's that time.
Yeah.
However, I may be out in the world frolicking about, as you do.
Yeah.
And I may see, as I do, as we all should do.
We all should do.
And I meet people or I see people, and here's the thing. You can never miss an opportunity to say a kind word.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To say, hey, how are you?
I see you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, you don't have to call yourself a medium or clever. I mean, you just say something nice.
Yeah. Do you, so it's there, and sometimes you have to tune in to kind of see, or,
yeah,
put your, are there things that you do well, let me back up. So we've talked about having this energy around us at all times, and it being available, and maybe you don't call yourself a medium and you're having these experiences now because it's available to everyone. I believe that.
Yeah.
I really do believe that.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, have you done some things where you really can fine-tune your tools? Are there things that you purposely put yourself through so you can be more open for these messages to come through?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure. Talk about that?
I went through a very austere training, and I would say that not everybody needs that. Mm-hmm. It's that was my journey, and I think you just have to be available for it. This isn't it. I even shy away from the word gifts, because that means I have something special that other people don't have, and that's really not true. Mm-hmm. When you could feel somebody's energy and go, ooh, not so much, or you could feel somebody and be like, that's your intuition. That's all that is. If you just quiet down and turn the phone off and stop looking at the text and turn the thing off and the computer and all these things, and close your eyes and breathe. It's very simple, right? That's what I do. Yeah. And then I also don't eat meat. I don't eat dead animals that are tortured and all of this and how they're treated in this country. I couldn't get away from that. I couldn't reconcile how I love, cats and dogs, but it's okay to do these other things. I just couldn't do that anymore. And so my energy is lighter because I'm not taking in that dense matter and all the complexity that is. Do you understand? There's that. There's also a tuning into hearing. So I can hear you on the outside, but in the same way I can hear on the inside. That's because I'm listening I'm listening. I can sit by a tree and the tree will talk to me. Everything has consciousness. You understand what I'm saying to you?
I do.
Lord of mercy, y'all. My friend's dog talked to me. Now?
Your friend's dog?
Yes. Now, see, she wasn't a friend, she was a colleague, and I hadn't been to her house before. I went over to her house right quick to talk about doing a project. She went to the bathroom, and her dog came over to me. He was like, this was the first animal that ever, communicated with me. And he says, she's cut my portions in half, and she cut all my treats out, and he was like, her son is not nice to me, and she's in the room with her boyfriend all the time. Lord of mercy. Why? Because that dog knew I was available, and that I know everything has consciousness. So she comes out of the bathroom, and I said, look, we don't know each other well, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Your dog told me X, Y, and Z. Yeah. She started crying. She was like, yes, the vet told her to cut the portions in half and to take the treats away. Everything that the dog told me was right on.
Oh, my God.
So she changed vets. I went back a month later. The dog was happy, and, come on, y'all. Life is magical.
Do you believe? I love this. I wish my dog was here. Both B and I have dogs that are usually here. And I know my dog has a lot to say. So does hers. Do you, in that experience, did you stop to think, like, is it the dog? Do you believe that that people, maybe like a past life spirit is in the dog? Just like
the dog got his own spirit. Like I got mine, like you got yours. He's sitting there living his own life. And they communicate, you know, they don't speak the same language verbally. Yeah. So we have to tune in telepathically but he got his own spirit doing his own daggone thing. Yeah. Do you believe in past life? I do. Yeah. I think that we're on a continuum. We are, you know, eventually I believe that we get off of that wheel. That it's time we graduate out. And there are other experiences to be had besides the earth experience. So you can graduate out of here.
So you kind of come back to kind of do your thing, do what you're supposed to do, keep coming back to, and then you complete
and
that
then you
wheel.
Complete it. Because everything is about evolution. You don't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Eventually you get and there's like, you know, there's all sorts of wonderful experiences you can have all over the place.
Yeah. All right, how comfortable you are in asking me questions? I feel like I'm supposed to give you the space to do it. I'll watch time so we can stay on it, but I feel like I'm gonna get.
Hold on, let me feel into that. What do you want me to ask you?
I don't know. I mean, do you? How about this? Do you feel there's anything here that needs to be talked about that you want to bring up?
With you?
It could be me. It could be B. She's in the room too. It could be something else. I mean, what's there that you're not saying?
I think the hit on your head when you fell was the beginning of something very powerful. It was a hit, and you said you had a concussion. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. And you've taken a few hits on social media. I think that you're getting hit right now to wake you up to a deeper level of who you are and what it is that you want to do. You ask, girlfriend, so I'm gonna tell you.
I know, that's why you're here.
I think that you're going through a transformation process. That's why you're attracting me. That's why you're attracting the people that are around you right now. Because you've already been through it. But you know, I mean, this thing doesn't stop. We don't stop transforming. And for you to listen very deeply to what your heart is crying out for now at this time. More freedom. Lord have mercy. Literally more freedom for you. In every single regard, I would say, is what is afoot. That's what's happening. It's very exciting. Yeah. And it's good you met me. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'll say about that.
Okay. What do you think our connection is?
I think that our connection is it's a metaphor for what's happening now. That as a country, we need to look at these painful things like race. They're uncomfortable. Nobody wants to talk about it. But we must. And we shall. I will, anyway. Because that's who I am in my heart. So I think that we come together to connect together.
I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Now we're going somewhere. So let's talk about race. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. You know, grew up in a pretty diverse area. I have family that are definitely racist, that may admit it and may don't, but some do, some admit it, some don't, in different ways. And I have always had this position where I'm like, I'm just going to be polite, you know, like polite and say, like I want to say this, like, I think it's bad, you know, like I knew it's bad. Racism is bad, right? Generally, I knew that. And I have politely not talked about it. And where I am now, like I experience things where I'm like, I know people are looking at me and go, you can't possibly understand, you're so fucking white. Like I feel that energy coming at me and I don't know what to do, because I want to be able to say, even if I don't understand, I want to understand. But there's this like awkward politeness that I think is just crazy. Like it's like we have to sort of talk about it. And I like sometimes feel as a white person, I can't talk about it. Like I can only talk about what comes up, because I can't possibly understand, you know, the pain and the situation. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, it's so uncomfortable, racism. It's so uncomfortable for everybody. It's so fucking wrong.
Imagine how uncomfortable it is for people who are experiencing it.
I know. I can't imagine. And I will never say that I can. But it's like, why? I guess like where I'm going with this, it's like, it's so horrible. Like, why would anybody continue to you know, take a position against races? It's like we've done all of this, it's not worked. Like, why aren't we trying to understand each other and talk about this? Like, what is that dialogue? You know, what should we be doing? You know,
yeah, I think a good question for me is how willing are white people to listen?
Mm-hmm.
To listen is going to be a good start. With compassion, just listening is really a good start.
Listening's good. I think there's some initiation too, though, because where I'm personally come from, and I'm not doing I feel like I'm not doing a good job of articulating this, is like I actually want to initiate more. And
initiate what?
Just, hey, I see you, I feel you, let's talk. Like, what the question, sorry, I just poked her. The question that I ask everybody in this chair, like, hey, where are you right now? Like, what's the distraction that's pulling you? Is almost the question I want to ask every person I encounter. I want you to
just listen to me. Because I'm a black woman and you're asking the question. So what I'm telling you is that you can listen. Like, listen to, you can ask, what it's like, you know, find out. If a person, a black or brown person or trans person, you know, whatever we're talking about, is open for that too, we also don't want to have to be in the position of always teaching. And that's uncomfortable. So like, oh, well, can you teach us? Look, can you help us like not be this thing? Yeah. That's exhausting as well. So to understand that piece. But I notice a lot of times when I'm talking with white friends, there's just a lack of listening in my pain. For example, you know, for my 50th birthday, I had a spontaneous talk that I gave, and a lot of my white friends were in the room. And I talked about racism, and that's what I talked about. And I talked about it, and they just listened to me. They listened, and it wasn't polite. It wasn't. Racism isn't polite.
Your talk wasn't polite?
Right, my talk was not polite.
Was it like you were getting stuff out? Like,
it was the truth. It was just what was real.
Yeah.
It was real. It was what everybody doesn't say. You know, this way of having to protect each other from, you know, oh no, racism is real, and I had some real stuff to say about it. Because it's a painful thing. Oh my heavens. And to expect people not to feel that, or, oh my goodness, are you angry? Are you being rageful? You step on my foot, I'm gonna go, ouch! I'm gonna need you not to do that. You know what I mean? We've been so domesticated that we can't even feel these different, you know, feelings.
So,
you know what I mean? So, you know, the first thing to do is just listen. And the next thing to do, get more black folks around you, get more brown folks, get more trans folks, get more people that are not like you in your close circle. You know what I mean? That's a real thing. Yeah. That's what I'll say about that.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with that. I think the fastest way, I don't know if fast is the right word, but the most productive way that you can learn about yourself is to be challenged and not be in just a group of people that look like you, act like you, do like you, from, you know, same career, whatever it is. Like,
you're doing good work by having me here. This is good. This is wonderful too, because you started by what's our connection?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like it feels metaphoric in the way that there does need to be some healing. We've kind of in the spiritual world, we've gone on top of racism, where we just don't talk about it in polite spaces. We just namaste over it or do a yoga pose over that thing, but it's like, actually, no.
Yeah.
The way to it is through it.
Well, what you said, even I think that's equally important as listening, is initiate.
What do you mean by initiate?
So, saying the thing that you're thinking, you know, but you're like, then, and I think this is for me, so I'm saying, instead of like carefully choosing words or not saying things because it might make somebody uncomfortable or it might create a certain energy in the room that now we're going to have to address it, say it, initiate.
You're talking about initiating with people of color or white people?
Both. I mean, I think initiation is for everybody. I think if there's something that is uncomfortable in a room or with the person, it's like, hey, I just want to move through this with you. Like, I got to bring this up. Like, I can't even think of what something might be, but it's like, are we okay? Like a good question, like, hey, are we okay? Have I ever done anything to hurt you? Or, you know, that's a good question, actually. Are we okay? Like when we check in with each other. But
I mean, and if you ask that question, no, you personally have not, but it's like it's a larger issue, racism and privilege and all of these things when we talk about it, and it's deep for folks to really go into it, but it's what we're living in.
Yeah.
It's to not talk about it and not muse about these things. So I appreciate your willingness. Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it feels like I think there's probably people that look like me, that are white, that think, oh, why do we have to talk about this? We're over this. We're not. If there's anything that we've learned in the last, 3 or 4 years, it's like we're not. Like, I think we just we politely put things under a surface, and then they need to come up, and they're up right now.
I mean, that's the season that we're in general. That's Me Too.
Stuff is up.
Stuff is up because it needs to be. Things get messy before they get clean, and racism is messy, and so people don't want to look at it. But it's a conversation that is it's just happening.
What else is messy? That like, so doing this work and working with people and healing them and helping them be more authentic. What comes up a lot? Like, what's that thing like? They're asking for something totally different, I'm sure. They're coming in and like, yeah, tell me about my love life. And you're like, no, that's not what's coming through. Like, this is something. Like, what's the pain that you really experience a lot when you're doing this work?
Yeah, I mean, people are not, I'm not like the psychic turban lady. So people don't come to me like, oh, what's going on with my love life? They're really they are clear that we're here to help them really step into their mission, into their purpose. More fully, whatever that is, and whatever the blocks are in between that. But I think one of the things that is messy in this space is that, people have to really move through what it is to accept their spirituality, to accept who they are as a spirit. That mediumship, that all these things aren't woo-woo, which literally that word means crazy. So, but in fact, it's the most natural thing in the world. It's natural to get information from inside. It's natural to take your shoes off and go stand on the grass and feel the earth underneath you. You might not be spiritual, but you just, there's some things that are natural. We all want, we all want to be happy and for our children to grow up well in a good way. There's some things that we all want. And I think that's important to find. Yeah.
Another thing I'm pulling out of what you just said is spirit is natural. Spirituality is natural. And if there's a space, if there's a place where my heart goes the most, it's for people. It's how saddened I am that religion has taken spirituality out of them. That they have had some sort of religious trauma, and so they throw it all out. So they go, therefore, no spirituality, no nothing, or start labeling it like they label the stuff probably that we're talking about more as the woo-woo stuff. I'm not going there, but I think it mostly comes through religious trauma. you know, and
yeah. It's
I'm really
a really good point.
Yeah, I'm really saddened by that, you know. I'm really saddened that someone would not allow themselves to connect with their spirit and people, you know, relatives, whoever that's there to like support them because of somebody told them that they had to have it a certain way. They could only take it by going on Sunday, and that saddens me. That we're, and I feel like we're just gonna go there. Like I really feel like that's the biggest problem that we're facing right now, is too many, that religion killed spirit for a lot of people, and we need that spirit to come back. And we wouldn't, we would be able to be more to have these conversations about the tough stuff.
Well, I think yes. Absolutely. You know, it takes, here's what it takes. It takes a willingness to go, hey, I don't want a book to tell me how I'm going to be living my life, who I can have sex with, who I can love, who I can marry. Actually, I'm going to take that responsibility. Instead of putting God outside myself as something that, you know, tells me what to do, I take responsibility for that. I decide I'm not going to allow these systems to dictate what I should do. It's a collaborative effort. Religion is doing a thing and people are saying yes to that thing. So at some point you have to say no, like I had to do.
Yeah.
And many others who have said no to that. And you know, my grandmother was born again Christian, and she lived in, was a wonderful woman, and lived in and died that way, and that was the right thing for her. That was right for her spirit, and I honor that. She did it in a very beautiful way that I honor and respect. However, I see people, you know, people, gay folks, trans folks being forced to pretend they're not that, or you know, trying to, you know, squelch themselves and be in this box because of religion. And I say, you know, at some point, you know, we have to chart our own course and be free. Yeah.
Free, but like, so here's another thing that I think about a lot, because this is what this show is going to be. This episode is going to be. So there's God in you. You talked about like you making that decision, or like bringing it into you, and you make, you know. But I also believe that there's a we, that there's this collective we that we've lost track of. We with spirit, we with each other. You know, that is the most beautiful thing. Like when you tap into spirituality and the messages and, you know, the support that's there, it's a beautiful we. It's like you're not alone. It's not about you or you being God guru. Like, it's like we. I don't know how else to say that. You know, I just, that, like, because I believe, maybe the other way that I'll say this is, the myth of social, that social media is promoting, that like, look, I'm a self-made influencer, look at me and look at all my selfies, and like, no, you're not. Nobody's self-made. You've been influenced, maybe by spirit, maybe by friends, maybe by media, but you're not a little container by yourself. There's other things going into that and out of that, and we don't honor that enough. We don't honor we.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the guru is dead. That whole paradigm has just been completely deconstructed. It's just no more season for that. To elevate somebody above yourself, to abdicate your power to. Rather, it is a we space. That's what this is. It's a round table. It's not this hierarchical. It's not this. It's not somebody at the top. It really is like this now, you know. Well, I mean, it is. I mean,
some people think it's this, and our just like you said, your grandmother made the right choice for her. Some people are buying into that, but I think the force that's not there enough is us being together. Let's solve this. Let's take a bunch of people that grew up differently and create solutions from that, instead of, oh, only this one group of people that have had all the same privileges and all the same experiences. Let's let them make decisions for everybody, because that makes a whole lot of sense, you know. Yeah. So
yeah,
we.
I agree.
I'm into the we. That's what I after the episode with Kyle. It's like, you know, when we talked about pronouns.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The most important pronoun I think that we didn't talk about is we. You know, that maybe it's hard for people to hear you claim, you know, what it is that makes you most authentic, and they don't get that. Like, they already have that. They've never had to, like, you know, experience that. But if we are able to, if we can come together with different experiences and go, okay, there's a we, you know, like, let's protect that. Let's protect each other, protecting each other. You know, I think that's important for now. I'm ranting. This has gone in many different directions. So what, I mean, you know, we're just leaned into it right now. I mean, I feel like we're just kind of talking from what, you know, from a place of like, hey, let's just put it out there and be real about it. If someone was watching and this seems scary to just be with themselves or be with someone that doesn't look like them, don't act like them, didn't come from a, you know, same place in the world, like, if this seems scary, or if it seems like, why would I do that, what would you say to them?
Why would you do what?
Why would you, like, try to, like, connect with people that are not like you? Or there's two things: people that are not like you, or believe that there's spiritual energy there for you to tap into too. Those are two questions, very different questions.
To someone who think it's scary, or that they shouldn't connect with people who are not like them, so bizarre. I mean, it's I'm trying to figure out what I would say to them.
Yeah.
Scary. I don't know, Stephanie. It's absurd to me. It's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the freaks, the different folks, the folks that are like, hey, wow, something's happening inside of me on the planet. I want to be a part of that. If you think it's scary to be around people that aren't like you, I'm not your gal. You probably don't want to work with me. What do I have to tell? What? That's why the question threw me. I'm talking to the freaks, to the different ones, to the ones that people make fun of. You're amazing. You're brilliant. Do that thing. That thing that everybody thinks is weird or strange. Come on, if you ain't hurting nobody, then let's love each other. Let's love each other more. You don't have to agree with it. I don't like okra. I don't eat it. You know what I mean? It's not a problem. I don't argue with okra. I just don't eat it. It's not a problem.
I first thought you said you don't like Oprah.
Oh, no, okra. Okra. Let's be clear. The food, okra, is not good to me. I do not eat it. Yes, that's simple. You don't like it? Why would you want to spend time, you know, a bunch of time criticizing things? Just do another thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm talking to those folks that are like, hey, they need me. They need my medicine. Probably you won't resonate with me and you won't like me if you're what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You just won't. And that makes sense. I'm polarizing. It makes sense that you wouldn't like me because we're not even on the same vibe.
Well, we can kind of, I mean, I can relate to that. Yeah. I've said it pre-show and I've said it, I think, in the show. We're different packages, we're different vibe. But people that are on the side of fear and hate are not going to vibe with me either. I mean, we're doing different things, but that's basically what you're saying. Like, if you are scared about something, that's fear. That's straight up fear, and that's hard to connect with. And you're not going to vibe. You and I could be packaged in a million different boxes, and we're still talking about love and fear here.
But here's why I don't speak to that demographic, because I honor their right to feel that way. Completely. It's not my job or my business to tell them they need to do something else. They don't. They need to do whatever do what you need to do. I'm talking to the folks that are feeling what I'm saying. That's where my medicine can best be served, not trying to change minds. their spirit knows what they need to do, and they're on their own process.
I don't think anybody's time and energy is spent well trying to change somebody's mind. If there's anything that we've learned in our political system, it's like all these sides are just, you know, nothing's, like debating is not relating. There's nothing going on in that space. You know, like you're not changing anybody's mind. You're just talking a lot. That's it.
Yeah.
You're just talking a lot.
And I want to honor everybody's process, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm best served giving my medicine where it's received.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I mean, that's real. All right, we're getting close to the end. Like, what else? Is there anything else that you feel really compelled to share right now in this time? Right now.
Oh my goodness. We need more time like this, Stephanie.
Yeah. Yeah.
More time to look in each other's eyeballs. Off of the screen where you can be anonymous and say mean things and all of this stuff without looking at another person's eyeballs. We need more spaces. Something happens when you're looking in someone's actual eyes. It's chemical.
Yeah.
I can feel you.
Yeah.
You can feel me. So we need more times when we step away from those devices to be together. Right?
I agree with that. We've said it so many different ways on the show, you know, just be, just, you know, take the time to be, and there's nothing more beautiful than just sitting down with somebody. And like, I don't have an agenda. I did have some questions. This was an episode to talk about her work, and besides that, like, really what I'm promoting on the show is this. It's like taking the time to have a 50-minute conversation with somebody and just what's there, what's up, what's real. Ask questions.
I would say
Listen.
also that healing takes time. The fact that you do like an hour-long conversation makes sense. You know, you just get more done, you know, and I work with people and clients over time because healing takes time, you know. Can't make these strides overnight. That's not how nature works. Right, grass grows out in the way that it does, and the shoot comes out, and the flowers do what they do in time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Big fan of that. I just often say, you know, celebrate the momentum. You know, we live in a world that, like, we're only seeing the end result. Oh, look at me, I got dressed up and I went to this thing, or I got this thing. And we chose in this space and with this show, like, we're learning. B, who's behind the camera, is learning as the show is going on. Yeah. She's moving the camera around. We're showing live momentum. We're not hiding that. We're letting people know that this is a work in progress, and it's real, and it's not augmented, and that is life. That's what's going on. It's, you know. Real. Now, we could have edited it. We could have done all these different things. There's plenty of those shows out there. Go watch them if that's what you want to do. That's not this. And this is saying we need more of this. We've got to be careful. You know, the phone is not more important than this. Quick conversations, quick judgments, none of that's more important than this. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can do one fun thing, and then we're going to move into Heartswell. So I'd like to show that at any given time, the circumstances of how we're relating can change. You know, you can get a phone call and you can be totally distracted and not here with me in the room anymore. The easiest way that I can do that in the show is just ask you an off-topic question. Yeah. Random. I don't know which question's going to come up. Okay. You might, let's see. What do we got? Do you have an arch enemy? I was almost not going to
ask me something else.
Do you have an arch enemy?
I don't like it.
People probably think they are, but you know, whatever. What was the most embarrassing lie you've told?
Wow, what an interesting question. Embarrassing lie. Probably any self-deprecation. It's a lie, you know, these little self-deprecating ways that we have. Oh, no, not me. I'm not, oh, I'm not this. Oh, and someone gives you a compliment and you're like, oh, no, no, no. Yeah, I've stopped doing that. I've stopped that self-deprecating thing.
Yeah.
You know? So there's certain things I do well, and I say, yeah. It's not arrogance, it's just the truth.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. You say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for seeing me.
Thank you for seeing me.
Feel ya. All right. Okay, well, you know what's coming next. So
I do? What's coming next?
Yeah, I think you kind of do. So on every show, we ask the guests to share a heart swell to somebody. Could be some buddies. It could be a group of people, whomever. The intent is like, look, we're not doing this enough. We're not like sharing honest, deep feelings, meaningful thoughts about other humans. And my goal here is just like if people see us doing it, that they might want to do it. They might call somebody and say, hey, I really, want you to see this, feel this. Actually, my real goal is they'll actually do this. They'll go in person and not just, hey, text, hey, I love you, thinking about you today. That's not what I'm talking about here in a heart swell. A heart swell is like really going, I see you, I feel you, you showed up for me, and you've made the difference in my life. Like really expressing like how important somebody is to you. So are you willing to share a heart swell to somebody? Does someone come to mind? Or a group, could be.
Yeah, absolutely. In order to do this work, you have to have had a lot of mentors. And a lot of people that help you. I'm just grateful to all my teachers who poured into me when I wasn't doing well, helped me, taught me. I honor my ancestors who built this land under duress and slavery, and my ancestors before that were living quite well in Africa, and kings and queens and just regular people living lives. Yeah, just to my ancestors, a thank you. That now I get to say what I get to say. Where if you would have been strung up on a tree somewhere. So I'm grateful, very grateful. And I stand on your backs and humble gratitude for the sacrifices you made so that I could do what I do. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course it does.
Yeah. Girl, more time. You're just getting into it in here. We'll have to do like a Bill Maher, what does he call it? Overtime? Overtime. All right. Well, I really appreciate you being here and just really being here, like taking the time to just like be real. Like we had an off-camera conversation about like, hey, who's your audience? How, who am I talking to? And she's like, I'm just going to talk to the people that I know that I resonate with, which I appreciate. I appreciate you being real and spending time with me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me in your home, in this beautiful space, and doing your good work on the planet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're in the momentum of it, I think. All right, so you guys, I'm sure there's going to be something we talk about afterwards that we'll share in the archive, but I am going to share where you can get a hold of Amma on Instagram and her website, and so you can learn more about her work. So all of that will be in the archive. I appreciate you being here. One more thing that we get to do together is I try to issue a social challenge of the week that, just let somebody like, hey, let me try this. I've never done this. Like, it's all about being curious with yourself and like seeing what's more there. Like, what more can I, how much more can I be myself, or am I being supported right now? What do I need? So what's coming up for me, and tell me if this sounds good to you. So, social challenge of the week. In order to like experience spirit, sometimes you have to be quiet, stop talking, and just be. Like, how if someone wants to experience more of the spirit and the supportive energy that's around them, is there something we can encourage them to do? I mean, meditation is always the thing, I think, like trying to quiet your mind and.
Yeah, I think that listening is an art form, and it's one that, notice how much space you're taking up in the conversation. How much space do you leave for the other person? Are you trying to rush on to the next thing? Or see if you could take up less space. Just listen more and feel into a person. Listen to what they're not saying. Understand? Listen to everything around you. Everything's talking. I'm looking at a billboard. There's a message. You know, there's everything can be, life can be talking to you. So take more time to listen in these more attuned ways.
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, what's coming up for me in that is like feel your way through a conversation. So I was kind of going more of this quiet space, but hey, I like the we. I'm always about the we. So I do like the idea of seeing what's there when you're with somebody else. And it might be like, hey, let's look around and like, what do you see? Like if you want to really play with context, like you share what you see, you listen and allow the other person to do the same thing. Like, well, this is what I see. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I came into this room with. You know, this is what's on my mind. And then put all that out there and then like play with that and you know, explore. Like, I think that's, I like the we exploring spirit a little bit.
I mean, it's the only thing. There's just we. I mean, what if we were on this planet by ourselves? That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's all about us. I love it. I love that you keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to summarize that and give you guys instructions on how to do this. What else did I want? There's something else that just kind of went, oh, say this. It's gone. Oh, I know what it is. So what we're talking about in this social experiment is the opposite of sitting down with someone and saying, how are you? And they say fine, and you say fine. It's the opposite of that. It's like sitting down and almost like, here's all my cards. That's what we're talking about. Like just letting whatever's there and see how much more you can connect with the person. That's what we're really going for. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So any of those normal social, let's call them politeness, or just kind of the social norms that you do when you see somebody, don't do any of them. Do the opposite of them and see what else you can put out when you're sitting down in a conversation. That's what I'm going to leave everybody with.
Right?
Yeah, it was great. All right, thank you for being here.
Yes, my pleasure.
We're talking off camera, I'm sure. Next week is Jakar Cooper. We're going to talk about the stories that you're telling yourself that are not serving you. It's going to be a lot of this stuff too. And there's a PSE coming up. You guys, this is the first one that you're going to get a chance to be right here on the set in meditation, in a circle, sharing some of the stuff that we talked about. So what we do in these circles is like, once we get everybody warmed up and like, hey, we're here to connect, we turn to each other and go, I sense. And nobody has the gifts that she has. Like, the stuff just gets shared, and it's exactly what needs to be put out there. And that's what we do, to just say, like, you know, just experience the we of us. So that's coming up. That's May 31st. You'll actually get to be in this space right here with me. That's a Thursday night. So I'll put that on your calendar. And if you need more information about it, just like the archive of the show, it will be on StephanieMichele.com. If you take the social challenge, you can reach out to either one of us. I'm going to share her Instagram. I'm Relate with Steph on Instagram. Find us. We'll talk about it. All right. So that's the end of this show. As always, I just want to encourage everybody. You should be saying this by now, right? You know what I'm going to say. Relate with more curiosity.